And happening right now, Tampa Bay Buccaneers star Lavonte David expected to talk about the retirement. We told you about this just moments ago. This was as he was approaching a 15th season. Let's go ahead and listen in.
To this moment, I never thought I'd be in this situation. I never thought I'd be here. Growing up, playing the game of football at 6 years old, I always did it for the fun of it, did it for the love of it, never cared about what came with it, just because, it was built in me a different way. Just the way it brings joy to people's lives, the way I can impact people's lives, and my 14-year career was a journey. It was a long road to get here. Starting at Liberty City Optimist, going to Miami Northwestern, and then going to junior college is when I didn't think I would get here, just because everything that I went through there, it was a tough journey. But there, I learned, what it takes, to become, accountable. And I learned, that, a lot of people depend on you. And, going to the University of Nebraska, I kept that chip, kept that same mindset. And throughout every year that I've been here, I had that same mentality, just have that chip on my shoulder. And every time I step on the field, I want to prove myself right and all my doubters wrong. And a lot of people in this building, a lot of people, guys who I see in my family, help me continue that dream, can help me continue that process. And, I want to thank everybody, throughout, my journey, throughout my career for, pushing me and helping me, be the greatest I can be. And, man, to play at an organization, for this long and to get all the respect that I have from everybody and, from all my peers and the lives that I touched, throughout my career, something you can always dream of. I might get a little emotional because it's always how I always get when I talk about my parents. I mean, everybody have parents, man, but you don't understand how much they meant to me. Growing up where I grew up, it ain't easy. It ain't easy, but they found a way for me. And you don't understand that until you get older, until you have kids of your own. And the sacrifices they made for you, the things they did for you. It's just thinking about my dad, the sacrifices he made. He was never the breadwinner in our family, but for some reason, him and my mom made it work. And their relationship lasted for so long. And when you saw, how they was compatible with each other and how they made our lives easier. And, we had one car. My mom took the car to work. And my dad used to take me to practice on his handlebars, and on a bike. We used to walk sometimes. And, as a kid, you like, dang, man, like, that walk was a far walk. But you realize, like, it's a sacrifice that you got to make to help your sons, your kids' dreams come true. And they did it. And it was a point in my career, when my mom passed away in 2016, I didn't care about football no more. I didn't want to play no more. I didn't care for it anymore. I wanted to, just give it up because, honestly, I didn't have a reason no more. I didn't have, I was doing everything I was doing because I wanted to, make all her dreams come true because she helped me make my dreams come true the day that I got drafted. And, from then on, I was just working to make her life easier, make her life happy. And the day that she passed away, I thought that I lost it all. And luckily, I had friends, family. Gerald was one of those guys who, came to my side because he went through that early in his football journey. And he, helped me get through it. And then my siblings, I'm the youngest of six. The youngest of six. My other two sisters, they weren't able to make it today, but my household, the ones who I had in my household, man, I was the youngest, and my oldest brother, Marquise right here, my other brother, Gerard right there, and my sister. Oh, man, they made my life so easy. And like I said, man, like they protected me, and they went all through the bad things before it got to me. My oldest brother, he took all the beatings from my daddy before it was my time. My sister, she took the chewing out from my mom and dad. And, my brother right here, Gerard, he was more the knucklehead, but, they kind of like took it easy on him a little bit. But by the time they got to me, they was old and tired, so I was okay. But, nah, man, it was just an incredible moment just growing up in a house of people who just support you and who love you and genuinely wants to see you live out your dreams. And, every big moment, that's why I always have them here with me because, they was with me every step of the way. And, my little league coaches, all those guys, my high school coaches, my college coaches, everybody who played a huge part in my career, man. I just want to salute you, and I want to take my hat off for you guys and let them know that I love them dearly. And, Coach B.A. and Coach Bowles, it was another point in my career where, it was a coaching change coming. And, I thought it might be, change of the guard, a clean house situation. But Jason, those guys reached out to me and told me, like, nah, man, we want you to be a part of this, and this is going to turn around, and we're going to basically do it for you. And when they said that, I'm like, hey, for me, man, y'all want me to be a part of this? I'm like, I don't know, it's a whole new scheme. Coach Bowles coming with a 3-4 system on. I never played in a 4-3 my whole career. I don't know how to adjust to that. And they told me, you're going to have fun. Trust me, you're going to love it. And I just remember telling Bowles the first meeting, yeah, this is what I like to do right here. I appreciate that. I think I'm going to have fun in this. And I told them, man, those guys, like, help me have fun with the game again. And it shows every time I'm out there on the field. I see some of the guys, some of my old teammates in here right now. I hope you guys know that, man. I greatly appreciate you guys, and you guys brought joy to me every time I stepped on the field to be able to live up to not only my standards, but the standards you guys hold me to. And that's what I really love. Y'all boys held me accountable from the jump. And that's something that I really appreciate about you guys. Tandy held me accountable since our first conditioning test with Coach Ciano. And you know how that was. It was that was crazy, but that's a story for another time. But I thank those guys too, man. Mark Dominic, Greg Ciano, and obviously the Glazer family. You guys help a kid from Miami dreams come true. And I thank you guys big time for that. And it's greatly appreciated. My family appreciates you guys. And, like I always say, man, it comes from the bottom of my heart. I can't thank you guys enough. And, with all that being said, my 14-year career has come to an end. And I feel it's time to, move on and, find a different path in life, mainly being a dad to that amazing little girl over there. Changed my life so much. People always talk about, like, man, you need to have a daughter, you need to have a daughter. You never understand. I'm like, why you want me to have a daughter so bad? And I'm like, everybody, being a masculine man, you want to have a son. Like, I want a son so he could, follow my footsteps and do, so I can help him become a man. But little did I knew it. Having a girl helped me become a man, helped me understand what's important in life. And she definitely does that daily. And I'm thankful. I'm sure she don't understand right now, but when she look back, she'll see, it's just an incredible journey. It's an incredible time in my life to be able to just be able to raise her to be an incredible young woman and be the best person in the world and be kind, be generous, be loving, and be caring to people who you come across. And I see it in her already, and I just hope that, I continue to do that. And always, man, thank you guys so much. Love the crew forever. The fans, you guys are amazing. You guys are incredible. You guys always was my motivation to wake me up in the morning, to keep me going, to be able to, play the game at a high level, for this long. You guys was a part of that. And I thank you guys daily for that too as well. And, trust me, this thing around here will continue to get better, continue to get greater. And, end of the day, I will always be a Buccaneer. And as always, it's Bucs for life.
Thank you, Lavonte. We're going to go ahead and open it up to questions now. Media, please raise your hands and a microphone will be extended.
Lavonte, J.P. Peterson, FanStream Sports, Tampa Bay. Congratulations on an amazing career. How important is it to make it into the Hall of Fame for you? Obviously, you have the numbers. What do you think that process is going to be like for you?
Oh, man. I don't know how the Hall of Fame work or anything like that, but I know the process would be, probably long. I know a lot of accolades that comes into, deciding, what you do to get into the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. But, I've never been the one to brag and boast, but, I let all my player stuff do the talking. And, to add to that, my numbers do the talking. So when I'm out on the field, I make an impact any way I can, and I hope, someday they do decide to vote me in, they can see that. But it's something that it was never nothing that I strive for. Like I said, man, I generally love the game of football, and whatever comes with it just came with it. But if that's a part of it, I definitely would take a step to smiling.
Congratulations, Lavonte. Thanks, Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report. Your last game was vintage Lavonte David. Mm-hmm. I know you battled a knee injury last year and you went through a lot of pain to have to play, but to go out with the win, with the takeaway, which is the calling card of your career, and and to have that type of game, tying Derek Brooks for the all-time franchise tackle record. What is your reflection on that game?
It was a fun game to be a part of. Just was at stake, the tackle record that was in the back of my mind, obviously, and what could have happened in the future. Unfortunately, outside of that, things that happened didn't go the way we wanted to go. But my whole thing was to play my heart out, no matter what. That's just my MO. Every time I'm out on the field, these guys in here know how I am. They count on me to be my best. It's just a standard that they hold me to, and it's a standard that I hold myself to. And, each time I prepare, I try to prepare that I'm at my best, that, I'm going to play my best, full effort. And I never want those guys to question, whether I play my best or not, whether it's from my very first game or from my very last game. I always wanted to go out the same way I came in. That's, just trying to be the best on the field.
Hey, Lavonte, Greg Allman from Fox Sports over here on your left. We got you the night of that last game and got to talk to you that night and certainly knew that this was on your mind and a possibility then. But just want to ask you how tough a decision this was for you, and then what were the things that ultimately made this decision and gave you the peace to know this is the right time to step away?
Yeah, it was extremely tough. Obviously, I was going back and forth with it for a very long time. But luckily, I have nobody on my camp that kind of pressure me into make the decisions. From both sides, family and the organization, gave me a little time to just think things through and just figure out what I want to do, what I genuinely want to do, and I just felt it was time. Like I said, man, I never dreamed of playing 14 years in the NFL. I never dreamed of playing 14 years in one organization, and it's been an incredible journey, and I feel like it was just time for me to just move on and let the next generation take over and just move on and find my next passion, my next endeavor. When I got in the league, this is all I was focused on, just football, and it got to a point where it's just like and people used to ask me, man, what's your hobby? I said, I only got one hobby, it's to play football. And that's something that kind of dawned on me too. I just got to figure out, my life, my own path, and, kind of go from there.
Lavonte, Jenna Lane, ESPN, over here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You talked about your mom, and I didn't realize just how that you got to a point where you didn't know if you even wanted to play football anymore after she passed away. Because every time you walk in that locker room, you see her picture. It's the first thing that many people see because it's right there in your locker. What did seeing her face every single day that you would go to work, like, was that a source of comfort for you, for motivation? What did that do for you?
Yeah, definitely a source of comfort and inspiration. I always, look at that picture and say to myself, just keep going, keep striving, keep making her proud. And, like you said, it's the first thing I look at every time I look at my locker, and, that's just what it brings, me to continue playing, and me continue to, try to play this game at a high level. I know I'm making her proud, and all her sacrifices in it, going on and void. She was one of those people who always, was supportive, always was proud. And, I could always hear her say, "That's my baby." And even as a grown man, calling me her baby, and we had that type of relationship, and I acted like a baby when I was around her too. So every time I came home, first place I had to go was to her house. I remember they were trying to do a surprise party for me. My sister could tell you this. They were trying to do a surprise party for me. I had to have dinner. And they were trying to get me to go to the restaurant. I'm like, no, I got to go to my mama's house first. Like, I ain't been to my mama's house yet. She's like, boy, she going to be there. Just go to the restaurant first. I was like, no, I got to go to my mama's house first. What y'all talking about? And come to find out, she's on a surprise, too. So that's just how, close a relationship we had, man. It was, like, that point, in my career, it just was, just tough to deal with, as anybody would go through just losing a parent, but just how impactful she was for me and how much she meant to me, it just was no point just to go out there and just like not prove her happy, because that's who I wanted to do it for. But luckily, my dad at the time and my family was kind of like still had my motivation, had still pushing me, and I just had to find a different passion, a different motivation, and I was able to find it. And it was for those guys to just see how proud of me they were too as well. So I was like, yeah, I still gotta keep doing this, man. I still got people rooting for me. I still got people back home who want to see me succeed. So, I still gotta have that drive.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times. I know you've been retired for all of 21 minutes. What have you thought about when you think about your future? Not that you need to work right away, but just,
Oh, I don't know the brother, and I'm proud of him too. Be loving and be caring to the people you come across. That's a direct quote. Words from a Bucs legend. You're looking at him right there on the screen, Lavonte David. Right there announcing his retirement after 14 seasons. David retires as the all-time leader in tackles, also third in games played. And yes, that Super Bowl ring. Lavonte was a winner in the locker room, serving as a team captain. And the second-round pick answered all the questions in resounding fashion. Can he play in the league? Check. Can he last in the league? Check. Will he impact the league? Check. The chip on his shoulder held it down for 14 seasons. Much more on Lavonte's retirement from sports director Evan Klosky tonight at 5 o'clock.